was there. Some of you guys for your first time to a live event. So we appreciate you being there. What we wanted to do, what we do usually when hey, Steven Simi, good to see you. Dave Younglove, good to see you guys. And so, I mean, the rest of you guys that have moved up to leadership, if you can make sure your phones have your full name on it, or your, Zoom link has a full name on it, we'd appreciate it.
Bill, yours always says iPhone 36 or something, 39.
39, yeah.
What is it?
Just so they get to know you.
Yeah, your name on your Zoom link is iPhone 39 instead of your name. So we want to make sure everybody, we know your name, but so everybody gets to know everybody.
Okay, I'll fix that.
Yeah, so let's get started with what you guys learned at the live event, kind of go through your main takeaways that you had. So maybe, Christy, you want to start?
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to.
I put you on the spot, but you're okay with us putting you on the spot.
Yes, sir. Always. Yes, sir. There's a couple of takeaways. I number one, just I'm really thinking about staffing and my developing my leadership team and my instructor training and going back to mission. And I think I've stepped away from that with my staff, and Master Oliver was talking about that on Sunday, and talking about the mission of our school and what it is that the reason why we do this, and why are we here, and we're educators, and why are we doing this with our lives. And I think a lot of times we get, as school owners, we get pretty focused on the how many leads, how many appointments, how many this and that, which is very important in terms of the overall health and growth of our school. But I think getting our staff to be behind our vision and our mission is ultimately really also just as important, and making sure that we are helping them understand that. That was a big takeaway for me. And then the other one was, of course, how intertwined the instructor training program is with staff development, and how that is something that really you can't be too young. You're always looking for that next person to come up in line. And it was great talking to both Tim and to both Scott, different perspectives on it. Scott is the marketing piece, and maybe he can talk a little bit more about that, about how he's like always advertising on Indeed and keeping that, open, whereas in the past I've just been like, I found a person and I'm closing off my advertising for that. But he's going to have someone always, waiting in the wings. And Tim has got this exceptional, instructor training program that he's always got someone up and coming through that staff development processes. And so, never being, I think Scott said, I never want to be handcuffed to a staff member again. And I think, right now I have been handcuffed to my staff, and in the past I have, and I think I've hung on to staff members way too long because of that reason. And, making sure that my school has a really strong base, and that my staff are really behind the overall mission and vision of the school is just so very, very important. And that was hugely valuable information, along with every other little dial turn that I need to do with marketing management, all of those sorts of things that we always learn from it. It was really, as always, a wonderful, immersive educational experience. And I love the live meetings because of that. And but those were my biggest takeaways from the meeting.
Well, that's pretty interesting, because one thing is the big picture, the vision and the mission, but the other is on a day-to-day basis, always be putting people into your instructor program. So that there's always going to be, even if you've got a whole bunch of instructors, and not try to prejudice, because I never know which ones are going to be my best instructors. Some of my best instructors have been people I never thought would be good instructors.
So, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else?
Well, just the usual sort of like remembering to, keeping my marketing calendar up to date, and that sort of those little, at this point in my in my school, those little dial turn sort of things. But the bigger picture was the staff training and things like that. So
Perfect. Well, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm excited about, did you set some goals for the future? I mean, maybe that's good for everybody. Goals for what you're going to do over the next 90 days?
yeah, I'm gonna double my gross in 6 months. That's what Master Oliver told us to do, right?
Absolutely.
Now you said it out loud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You gotta say it out loud.
Yeah.
And put
Well,
it
that's
in
great.
writing.
And put it in writing.
And put a date to complete it.
We wrote it down,
Yes,
6
sir.
months, double your gross,
Yes,
6
sir.
months,
Yes,
which
sir.
is
Now-
quadruple or more your net.
Now,
Yes, sir.
Krista, what we would have our staff do is not just say what the goal was, not just write it down, but then they would actually have to calculate to hit those numbers. How many leads are they going to have? How many appointments? See, they'll go through all their stats for the year, and based on that, we can calculate. Like if, let's say, if you were doubling your gross, let's say all we'd have to do is double all of our numbers, our averages for last year. You follow me? So we
Yes, sir.
put those down, and then we've got to, if we, let's say, do how many leads we need, then we go to what marketing are we going to do to generate that many leads? So in other words, you work through the whole scenario. How many renewals are we going to need? How many paid in fulls are we going to need? So you kind of go through all of those scenarios, and then you get a better vision of not just a goal hanging out here in the air, but you have a whole blueprint on how to reach those goals. You follow me?
Yeah, a map to get there so it seems reasonable and it's doable, because it is doable. You just have, but it seems crazy if you just say, I'm going to double it. But there's probably 3 or 4 things you could do that changing it, not just getting double the number of students in, but a few other little tweaks, like you said, dial turns that would make a big difference in that, in meeting that. Well, great. Well, thank you,
And
man.
the good thing is you already doubled it 1 month last year. And
Yes,
and
sir.
what you did, and all you had to do that month, and I don't remember exactly how many enrollments and renewals you had, but all you had to do was get some extra paid in fulls, because everybody, remember, that's your big ace in the hole. 2 or 3 paid in fulls can jump your gross anywhere from 15 to 40,000 or more. And some
Yeah,
schools,
let's be clear on that. You know, a 1 year paid in full doesn't do you much good. A 4 or 6 year paid in full, you know, does you a lot of good. That was a conversation we had a few weeks ago with Jason. You know, feels good in the present, but it really doesn't do much because the loss of the billing. Assuming you have a halfway decent retention rate, it doesn't help you very much. But I agree with what you're saying, Master Smith.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless
That's
if you
why
ever
I
do
was
those
using
billing,
15 to 45, because enrollments are usually not that much. It's the renewals.
yeah, and
or
if
a year on a renewal rather than, you know, to Blackfeld or second degree.
yeah, if you ever got stuck with a year, I want to keep them making payments during that time too, if that does
Yeah.
happen. That's
Yeah.
the key point, which I think people miss. Well, let's move on. Krista, thank you so much. Jump in if you think of anything else. Who else wants
Yes,
to go next about what your takeaways were before I call on you?
Well, yeah, I'll go. I think it was a wildly successful weekend, and I want to thank you guys for putting it on. And Texas was cold. Let's not do it there again. Maybe
I will say the idea was to go someplace that was going to be warm, that wasn't in the middle of
Bahamas,
spring break.
like Puerto
And
Rico.
and as soon as we left on Monday, it was 75 and sunny. So I don't know. There's no accounting for timing.
Yeah, I think it was Sensei Fry who brought that cold weather down there.
Yeah,
Well,
we had a Canadian cold wave, I guess.
Well, look at that, huh? So, yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend, and I learned a lot, specifically revolving around really overhauling my marketing process, and I gotta kind of buckle down and do a little bit better with that. I'm already kind of doing it, so that's good. And then Master Moody's approach on team development, staff development, making sure they're hitting all the points to make a successful teaching experience for students was really valuable for me. And I can't wait to start implementing that with my team to make sure that they're doing a good job as well. I oftentimes I look at, the results of the school and it's, I blame myself for the things that are kind of going wrong or not going 100%, but I need to shift that and I need to, make sure that I'm not the only person responsible for our success. And I need to make sure that my team is, well equipped enough to be able to do the job properly. So I got a lot of great insight and I'm looking forward to putting it all together. I think that overall, this was the most valuable live meeting that I've been to of all the ones that I've been to. This one has been really monumental. So thank you very much.
Great.
Fantastic.
Blame yourself
uh,
about training and numbers, training and monitoring, and then blame, they can handle the rest.
Yeah.
And what you'll find, Riley, is that the more of these you come to, your knowledge, and you become more of a sponge and you pick up more at the meeting. It's probably not that we covered more, it's just that you were able to absorb more. And everybody, when you come to these live meetings, you're going to hear so many great ideas. And the problem with a lot of schools is they hear all these ideas, but they go back and they don't implement any of them. You've got to pick some of the hottest ones that you think is going to benefit your school to, move your school up to the next level, what is needed the most. And when you get back, you've got to, from day one, hit the ground running. I know, I remember Scott, from that very first meeting you came back, Scott, when you were out in Colorado, you went back and you hit that marketing and beat that so much. I think it was 50 enrollments. I think you had over 100 enrollments in the next 60, 90 days.
Well, so Riley, what's your goal for the next 90 days or
Wait,
6 months?
Scott was trying to comment to that, sir.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, all the live events are really motivating for us as well. That one you just mentioned, and this one as well.
Thank you. Go ahead,
Awesome.
Ron.
Yeah, what's your goal for the next 60, 90 days?
100 new students in 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks following that, I'd like to double that actually. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Then we got like 6 marketing plans you can go by.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. That was my favorite part. Was kind of everyone just kind of did the work for each other, which was super. So yeah, it was good. And actually, one of the things that was the most eye-opening is kind of when my team specifically, when we drilled down a little more and we looked at the financial results of our marketing spend and the work that we put in, to see it broken down into such a large number at the end of it, it's really motivating. And if that's what you want, then you can put that work in to achieve those sorts of numbers. So when you break it down and you put it down to numbers, it is really eye-opening. So it was good.
Yeah, it's something that you can do now. Cool. Scott, you want to go next? What your takeaways were and what your goal is for the next few days?
Yeah, we learned a ton. Very motivated. I like a lot of things. I really liked your presentation on staff training. I took a lot of notes on that. That's something I definitely needed. Also, and then another one I liked was the sort of the staff development part of it on Sunday morning with list all of your staff members and then order of productivity and then order of pain in the ass. That was eye-opening for me. Huge change I have to implement on that. And I have a ton of stuff. We drove home yesterday. We've been really sick. Brandy's got bronchitis and I got something too. So didn't feel, after we got home yesterday, we didn't feel like doing much. So we got all of our notes today. We're gonna hit this meeting and then kind of put our plan together. So
okay, hope you feel better. What you have your goal for the next 6 months or?
no,
Like,
yeah, that's we're gonna
gonna-
put a to-do list.
You're
I
gonna
always
write
like
it down and put it together? Okay.
What I like to do with these meetings is you get so much every time. You get so much, and I like to list everything out that I've learned or want to do, but then I prioritize it because I don't want to. I always want to do the most important things first, the biggest bang, what I mean, the biggest buck. So that's the way we kind of do these things. And sometimes we don't do everything, but if we do the top 3 to 5 things, it was still very valuable. So
Yeah, it make a huge difference. Awesome. Okay, who wants to go next? Like Gemma, you were there. Stephen Simi.
I'll go. For me, just a reminder, one, just thanks for having us down. It was great to be there, and it was a great meeting. So the things I liked were the reminder that our biggest competitor is time. Working with people's time. It's not sports. It's not other martial arts schools, but time. Like the discussion around setting your dream price. So as it relates to working towards where you want to get to with your tuition and pricing. I thought that was a good way to look at it. The marketing blitz, the 6-week, 100 students was fantastic. And instructor training, which everyone mentioned. Loved the instructor scorecard where we did the 90-second rounds and had to get 15, 20 points. That was great. Rotation curriculum on training. And then what are we doing? David and I are already implementing. We're working on the 6 weeks, 100 students with a March Madness campaign. That's what we're calling it. Where we're going to kind of combine a lot of what we talked about with the buddy days, the tickets, winning prizes, a big party at the end, which the Sullivans mentioned. So kind of a combined approach, similar to what Scott was mentioning, just kind of focusing in on what our greatest need is right now. And our greatest need is ramping up the enrollments and getting the leads. So we're already on it, already getting quotes for bandit signs, already working on new signage for the school, booked 2 birthday parties for March. So
your goal is another 100 students in the next 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Perfect. And Dave Younglove, you also agree with him on that? Good to see you on the call.
Yeah, one thing that was eye-opening for me is that when we broke off into the small groups, we listed, what are you going to do in the next 6 weeks to bring in more members? The joke is that everything on that list that we put down in our group, except for maybe one of them, I have done.
Mm-hmm.
Never done them all in 1 month.
Right.
And it was very eye-opening going, well, why the hell not?
Yeah.
All of these things once a year. And fell out of habits of birthday parties, and to see someone else, basically grow their entire school solely on birthday parties was very eye-opening. So appreciate all of the knowledge, and it's very helpful.
Yeah, I think Master Oliver has a good quote where he was asked, you learn anything new? He goes, well, no, I'm learning that what did you say, sir? You doing
Whole bunch of stuff that I already knew, but I'm not doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said it right, Dave, compressing what you're doing into a short amount of time. Master Oliver, you always said, I remember this one well, if you want to do, 100 students, and if you're doing 20 students a month and you want to do 60 students, you do everything you did in 3 months in 1 month. Or if you want to do 100 students, you compress it down to, whatever time frame you're trying to accomplish it. So doing more would have more effect. It's a straightforward way to do it, but we just don't think about doing it that way. I think a lot of people are subject to what Dave said too, is you've done all this stuff, but you haven't either made it work or you haven't repeated it when it does work. Who's next? Jimmy, you wanna go? You didn't have as long a drive or long a travel as everybody else.
No, yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. I would say honestly, my favorite part was actually just meeting people there and seeing that these goals, the things you guys, $1 million school, it's not an impossible goal. It's something that we can do and I can do. And I guess just speaking to other members and hearing, what they're charging and how their progress has been was really helpful for me and my confidence. But I did take a lot of good points on details of some of the processes, enrollment processes, even just with like how you frame certain things. That I could see making a big difference. But also just the marketing. I haven't really tapped into the marketing Parthenon, and that's something that I can definitely focus a lot on this year. So yeah, I plan on doing that.
Well, that'll be good to get you to your full-time location.
Yeah.
Cool. And so the next 6 weeks or 6 months, what's a number goal?
6 months to add 100 students, and double the gross. I think I will do that.
Well, you tripled the gross in 4 months, so
Yeah, so I'm sure I can do it.
okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Who's next? We got Jeff Cash. We got Tim Harrison, William Wong, Russ Northup.
Go.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're always valuable. Going to the live meetings for sure, and the interaction with everyone else that's there is always, in my opinion, some of the most valuable parts. It's funny, I was talking to my wife and she's like, well, what'd you learn? I was like, well, it's all stuff I know. She's like, wait, you're just hearing the same thing again? I was like, yeah, but you absorb it differently, like every time you go. And she's like, that's weird. She's a teacher, so we have very opposite mindsets. From a business and, you know, learning standpoint, but it really helps to hear it over and over and over again for me. I'm a slow implementer, obviously. But I feel like I've already implemented a couple things. I'm similar to what Steve Seaman just said. I'm going to do a March Madness for the buddy referral thing. I've got 3 birthday parties lined up for March. I've got an event with the chamber at my studio.
Oh, that's great.
We're doing the buddy thing. I'm trying to work with a couple different schools. That's my goal. Is I have 2 schools that I'm always with, so I'm going to try and get at least one other school, which is tricky days of the week for me, being just me. So that's what my goal is, to get one other school doing something with them, whether it's PE teacher for a day or something to get those things going. But the marketing plan portion was huge. And I got Master Oliver's email, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but saying just thinking bigger. And sitting in that group, everyone's throwing out the numbers for what they're getting for each of their pieces. Like their website gets this, their Facebook gets this, and all these numbers sounded ginormous to me. But I read that email and I'm like, okay, so now all those numbers have to sound normal to me. I'm working on just shifting all those perspectives, and that is the expectation. So that's my goal. I don't know about 100. I'm trying to get 60 students in the next 90 days, which would be monumentally larger growth curve than I've ever had before. So,
yeah, a lot of the work is between our ears, right?
100%.
It's and I appreciate that your wife saying that. Logically, she seems right. But for those of you who've gone to these kind of things again and again, it's that way for me when I
so wrong.
Yeah. And I think of stuff too, by the way, for my school. You know, even though I'm helping you guys, I'll think of something that Master Smith or Master Oliver said that, yeah, I've heard it before, but I'm like, oh man, we're not doing that. Usually the things we stop doing are the things that work the best, it seems like.
And
Yeah.
to add one more thing, I love all of the interaction that we had in the training, like the role playing, all those things that we did, the like staff development stuff. Especially as like a solo guy, I don't have that community to practice those things with. So to do those on a regular basis on a regular basis would be hugely valuable, but to do it at least when we're together like that also would be really beneficial for me. I enjoyed that part a lot.
Good feedback. We can do more of that. Okay, good. Who's next? Thank you so much, Jeff. We got Antonius. What did you get as your takeaways? Everybody better be ready for us to call on you.
No, I am. It was super helpful. It always is when I go to these meetings, and it's a mix of hearing new things and things that I had heard repeatedly before, but every time I hear them differently, and I feel I understand it better. So there is that double benefit. We are focusing at this moment. We just had our first enrollment conference last night, and we are definitely now focusing on really implementing the system at our New Jersey location. And that involves, of course, transitioning the current student body. It's a relatively small group of students, 35. but they have been in month to month and on low tuition, and to keep them somehow in the school and transition them to this new system is, I think, our main challenge over the next 6 months. And I'm hoping that we can add maybe 40 to 50 students in the program by, say, August or so.
Okay. For you, that seems like not, I mean, you have a lot of students, so it seems like that would not be so many. Are you saying 40 to 50 in your like group training that you're trying to
Yes.
do? Oh, okay.
In just this program, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if you talk to all of them, it'd be cool.
The translation there, Master Moody, is this is the program they're launching that's a group class rather than privates.
Right, I got that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say the same thing. Let's launch it with 100 students.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that the problem with doing a slow launch is it oftentimes just kind of never gets off the ground. But if you just go into a blitzkrieg and fill it up, then it creates a life of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just run through everybody and get through everybody and talk to them, and then you move them, and then it's gonna, I think you're gonna find it's gonna be pretty easy to get that filled up.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope so. So the first enrollment conference last night, it's not been decided yet, but you know, two interesting comments. One was the woman felt that we were trying to sell her a car. That's how we made her feel. And the other thing she said was, I just wanted to know the price. That's all. So it's going to be, I guess it will be a shock to the community to be talked to like this and to be signed up like this when everybody's in our area, at least, is signing up people on the phone, you know, and typically on not short commitments.
Well, this reminds me of a conversation that Tim, you and I had, I don't know, several years ago. There really is no community, Antonius, because the students coming in the door in almost all cases haven't interacted with anybody else. Right. So that's a mythology that we put into our mind. You know, we think that because we teach a certain thing that, you know, that our students are thinking the way that other students and other organizations and other people teaching the same thing. We think because we're teaching a certain thing that our incoming prospects are going to know what everybody else does, have a sense of of that. But in most cases, they don't, right? And I put my kids in music lessons a couple of times, but, you know, I wouldn't have had any perception of the way the other guy did it and the way the first guy did it, or that the way that it's normally done or whatnot. And frankly, was unimpressed both times. I've got to say, you know, dance lessons, same thing, acting lessons, same thing. You know, I was always kind of depressed at how sloppy they were rather than impressed about how good they were. Not even from the standpoint of I wish they would ask me for more money, you know, but just the onboarding process was sloppy in, you know, every case of anything I've dealt with the kids and lessons and so forth, other than the very expensive private schools. And they seem to in every case pretty much have their act together.
Yeah.
If you do the process right, you shouldn't get that reaction except for an anomalous situation where somebody's saying you're trying to sell me a car, you know. And what could have happened is it was your first one and you got that reaction. So the assumption, your sample of one, is that it's going to happen all the time. One of two things is probably true, that either that's probably not going to happen every time and it's going to be unusual, or you are leaving out some of the pieces, you know, about getting them to understand value before you ask them for money. So it's possible that that's going on, but that shouldn't be the reaction. This process shouldn't be feeling to anybody like they're getting sold a used car, or they, you know, under any pressure, because we've got a lot of ways to alleviate that stress. So, you know, that may be something we need to work on.
Okay.
Well, and that's part of the reason I don't like terms that are parallel with sales processes that they have a negative reaction to. So, you know, I don't want to use contract, down payment, monthly payment, you know, any of those things. I want to be very tuition centric in the way that we're presenting it, much more like it's a private school. A private school has all the same issues that we do. They get an initial tuition, they get a monthly tuition, they get a paid in full for the year in many cases. But you're thinking in terms of tuition, school structure. You're not thinking in terms of somebody pitching you something in a car dealership or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Master Moody.
Okay.
Let's keep
Oh,
our
yeah, let's-
process going here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Who wants to go next? Thank you,
I'll
everybody.
go next.
Perfect. And I hope everybody's taking some notes on what these guys' takeaways were. And then, when you go, you don't have to copy what they said, unless it's super important. But go ahead, Tim.
Okay. Well, we, like others, have the goal is starting March 1st with our 6 weeks to 100 more students. With the way we've been running, we figure that'll be about 70 net. That'll put us right about what I consider our sweet spot, 325, 330, somewhere right around there. And that's what we've been there before. We need to get back there. And of
Okay.
course, we'll still be working on that 5% dropout rate. So then hopefully it's even higher net. We have 2 buddy events planned during that time. We have currently 2 birthday parties. And while we're working on picking up some other things, we're just, excuse me, extra effort into really banging on our current leads list and seeing what we've missed and who we can get back in. Staff training, full-time staff training, which would be the 3 of us. We're starting tomorrow. And
Great.
we're going to come in an hour earlier than we normally do and do an hour of physical training, and then 45 minutes to an hour of other training that we've talked about. And, the idea is to make us, in most cases, interchangeable. Everybody's got their things that they need to pick up on, and there are things that they're really good at. And we want to kind of close the gap between the people of what they're able to do. And yeah, quite honestly, my concentration has been so much on the business of the school. My physical training has really dropped off. I mean, I go to the gym in the morning, but I mean my martial arts training. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that and just freshening some things up. I think it's going to be good for everybody. Yeah, again, just evening things out where Mr. Clay's great at, kicking off the mat. Well, Miss Cahill's going to be just as great because she's got a great fun personality. So we just need to get that confidence level up to where she can do the same things. Enrollments, kind of same thing. On the other end, Mr. Clay needs to pick up maybe on some of his administrative attention to detail, where that is Cahill's strong point. So yeah, all that we're going to go through on the training. That was, I think, the main focus, but I feel like we talked about more yesterday when we obviously got back Sunday night. And what am I missing that we talked about? Anything, guys? Go ahead, sir. Pipe in.
Yes, a lot with the training, like the staff training with our instructor trainees, we talked the drills
That's
with
right.
them. Yes, sir.
So the way things we have set up right now, with Master Moody's 7, 8, 9 week thing, we can't do it really with the instructor trainees the way we have that set up because most of that's classroom training. However, with our monthly meeting, we're going to break that down into 20 or 30-minute segments. And each month we're going to see how it works with covering maybe 3 segments, 30 minutes at a time with them and get that rotation going for instructor trainees. Additionally, with the paid part-time staff, we're going to set up a training rotation for the summer based on those same things. We're going to try and squeeze everything into 6 weeks so we can repeat it twice over the summer months when the kids are all off of school. So I know, and we've got the plan pretty close on that.
You can do the instructor training if you have a once a week instructor class. You can spend 15, 20 minutes doing a piece of that rotation.
Absolutely, but we don't. We have one a month.
Oh, you only have one instructor class a month? Okay, then it's a little
And
harder.
the rest of it is in class instruction from the instructors. So that's the way we have it right now.
By that, you mean somebody's teaching and the other instructors are supposed to give them feedback?
Yes, they have their assistants, basically their instructor trainees, and they're directing them and then giving them feedback in, 90 seconds, 2 minutes after class.
Okay. Okay. I mean, yeah, or have an instructor class once a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
And much like our staff training, yes, we just have every slot. I mean, we could go later, we could do a 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. class, but quite honestly, I personally don't want to do that. And I'm not sure how many others want to do that.
Yeah. For years, that was our Friday night. We
Right.
did, 6 to 9, different segments. And then I usually took them all out to, late dinner or a movie or something.
And right, and
after
I had
that.
considered that, but we have regular classes that go till 8:45 on Friday, well, every night.
Yeah. 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 You definitely have to figure out how to balance out the schedule.
Right.
And then just the one other thing that I really enjoyed was the marketing strategy too. So looking at, we do definitely need to add a few more events. So now I'm trying to scour out and trying to find some additional events that we can do and we can find. And the birthday party thing, we're looking at students to try to just add a few extras. Birthday parties just for that extra little bit of retention and getting new leads in. So that little whole segment was great.
Yeah.
Good.
And what we've got to do, this time of year seems to be a dry time for us on live events. And I know that there's probably something out there we can find, but we're going to work on it. However, coming up into May, June, July, August, where we've already got 12 events, I think, live events booked. So that's good for then. But this January, February, March time has always been a little tough for us.
well, that's not
Harder.
that's not atypical that the ones that you're looking for and that are in the summer are light, but there may be some other ones that you can find, like somebody was mentioning farmers markets.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, we just don't have them in Chicagoland in March and
In the
April.
winter, yeah. Yeah, it's
Right.
still cold there.
They're looking for indoor events.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you gotta spread out, see if there's other searches you can do or kids activities or more general ones. And you might find that there's some categories that fit because people have to do something,
Right.
and it may be if they're super light this time of year, then you have to, as always, guys, you have a Parthenon. So we have to soup up some other things and add some other things to the Parthenon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't fight the weather literally in this case. It may be good to do something else.
Well, and you definitely have, in February, which of course is already passed, Valentine's Day related things. Then
Mhm.
coming up in March and April, you have a lot of Easter and spring events of various sorts.
Right.
So, then you have Mother's Day type of things that come up next. So there's a lot of that. And also, the blockbuster films, Marvel kind of reset the clock from summer to spring. So, we are going to have we're going to have Karate Kid. The Captain America movie did big numbers, not super blockbuster number, but 100 million in North America is a pretty successful release. So
Right.
there's that as well.
And we may give that another shot. I know the answer to this because we've covered it, but our theater, which is 2 miles away, it's too heavy of an investment in Kevlar vests for the staff to be doing anything. The next one is 95th Street and 59. That's got to be 8 to 10 miles away. Now, I'm sure there's some people from this area that go there, but the percentage to me just seems so low.
Well,
to really,
the question is, where do your people go? If your people go to the Kevlar vest place, then that's the place to go. And, I don't know. That's why, Kevlar. But if your people
I-
go to the one, because if the people that you have in your school, if in the Facebook terminology, lookalike audience would
Yeah.
be in the one that's 2 miles away, then regardless of the Kevlar vests in the neighborhood, they're still going to that theater. So it still may work.
Yeah.
The other one, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going to the one 8 miles away, which does mean
Mhm.
you'll get a diluted version
Yeah.
of leads, but
Yeah.
you couldn't get a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah,
know?
you'll get
We've been talking
you'll
about
get
it.
maybe half the
Obviously, I'm
people you
being a
interact
little
with
bit
are.
humorous
Oh.
with the Kevlar vest, but not completely.
I'll have to tell you sometime my story of going to New Jack City in Chicago at definitely a gangbangers Kevlar vest theater, unknowns to us. What's that?
Perfect movie for that.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect movie. I think we were the only ones who weren't packing or part of a similar gang as displayed in New Jack City in the theater.
Right.
Master
So-
We are
Harrison.
going to look at that with the movies because I know, there's a lot coming out, so we'll see.
Hey Tim,
Yeah.
this is in your area. This is called the Great Easter Egg Hunt. There's actually two on the same day, March 23rd, and it's 3 miles from you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the Google search you used to find that, Brandy? Like
I
activities?
don't, hold on, I had to go back. Hold on, I'm gonna take a picture of this so I don't lose it. Hold on. I actually, first I went and found where you guys are, Tim, and then I wrote Plainfield Joliet Easter events.
Yes.
There you go.
And then it's March 23rd. There's two that day because they're separating them by ages. So 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Sorry.
Yeah, and for everybody, look, now is when you look for Easter. So that was perfect, Brandy. Now is when you look for Easter and Tim, like you said, you got the whole summer already booked out. Now is when you look way in advance. Don't look now for February, right? You got one.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I see Vanessa was shaking her head that she's looking into the Easter egg
She's
hunt,
already
so-
on the phone.
Yeah.
Good for her. And I wanted to commend you guys because you came in, I think it was Saturday, and I think it was Saturday, and you said that maybe it was Sunday, and you said that your whole staff had stayed up till midnight. You and your whole staff stayed up to midnight planning because you were excited about what to do next.
I think it was Friday night, so Saturday, yes.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturday. So, this is one reason it's important to bring your staff and valuable to bring your staff because they get excited. And then that's such a wonderful way to build a good team, but also have everybody ready to go and hit the ground running when you get back.
Yep.
A great job on that. Awesome. Well, thanks, Tim. So 100 students in the next 6 weeks. That's what your plan is. That's your goal.
That's what we're working the plan towards. Yes.
Okay, cool. How about some other guys? Carlos, you were there. You can go, or everybody, be ready. I know Jason's ready to go. So Carlos, go ahead. What did you get out of it? Takeaways.
A whole lot. By the second day, about halfway through, my head was hurting because of all the information. It was just full. But the marketing plans really helped out. Obviously that's my biggest need right now, just getting more people in the door. And working with the groups was great. Everybody was awesome. And the one thing that I never thought of was calling leads, is just sitting down and just calling them. And that's one thing that when I head into the school today, we're gonna start doing. Just keep working those older leads that kind of fall off a little bit, and just try to get them in the door. And that's our biggest need right now.
One thing I was talking about at our staff meeting today was when I do that before things get going in our meeting here, but I was talking about our staff meeting and we have to set goals for each of those too. So if your expectation is you're going to do calls to prospects or text and email to prospects, you're going to do that. I said, well, how many members are we going to get from that? And the answer was, I don't know. We haven't set that as part of the goal. The goal was to do calls for an hour or 2 hours. The goal was to do that. So if you think about what your expectations are from it, it will help get your mindset. I'm not trying to be metaphysical here, but you will be more likely to get your goal, particularly if you're having staff do that. I know in your case, it's you, but so that's great. What's your goal for the next 90 days and 6 months?
Double the gross.
Okay. We wrote that down, so you got to write it down now. Thank you. All right, who's next? Jason, did you just get in from the plane flight?
Literally just got off the plane. Yeah, literally like 20 minutes ago. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, I've got a list. So the key takeaways that I'll post, I've got 30 pages of notes. I'll post those in the group. These are the key takeaways. So instead of having a video with testimonials from 10 different people, we can have this be one video a piece and then have that be something that we send them when they become a lead. Now we start posting a video for them every day or every other day or whatever. So we can break those up. Next, we need to set up our automated system where we get the text, email, voice message. Then we need to have the next one. That's what we're talking about. So not just with testimonials, what are the videos? What are the blogs? What else do we have written up and all that stuff? So we got to figure that out. We want to look into mailbox power. That's what you guys were recommending. Master Moody, you had that binder that was really cool, that customized thing. So we're going to look at that. We want to have all these videos on a renewal process as well. So not just when we renew somebody and we throw them over the fence, because we've got this now elaborate star system that they have that's going to help them get renewed. Once I renew them, I want to have other videos similar to this, so they don't just feel like they got thrown over. Now we're not paying attention to them. So this is where we're going to have a video introducing one of the instructors, talking about our lineage. Now that stuff matters. And now this is some extra stuff that we can have for them, so they still feel that we're paying attention to them. Let's see here. In our renewal process, we need to throw out some of our lineage instructions. That is what I just said. If a parent objects to doing class with their kid, they say this is something just for their kid, then we can say, yeah, I completely understand. To be completely honest, they're going to be doing a lot better if you're in class with them. They're going to get more out of it. They're going to learn it more long-term. And quite frankly, this is one of the few things you can do with your kids compared to like soccer or baseball or basketball. So when we get them in, they're filling out the waiver. We're going to tell them to take their shoes off and at the very least come out on the floor no matter what. Even if they're just going to watch, they still need to come out on the floor. And then we're going to focus on trying to get them to do the class even just a little bit.
You put a lot of hesitancy, excuses. I'm trying to think of what the right term is for that, but the way you're framing it in your mind is leading aggressively to failure, Jason.
Okay. Yeah. What we're saying
we're just going to say, hey, plan to take the introductory class with your son or daughter. We're going to have them take their shoes off and jump into class with them. You were adding all of this over explanation, number one, but number two, all of these rationales on, well, if we can just get them to step on the floor, even if they're just watching while they're standing. See, I don't want any of that stuff, right? It's just deceptive.
Yeah. No, we're doing that. I am saying when a parent tells us, no, I'm not going to do it, this is just for him. Now we have the explanation. So right now we are saying, plan on doing the class.
Well, wait a minute. Have you been getting a militant, no, I won't do it from parents?
Yeah, lots of parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or are you getting, well, this is just for him?
Yeah, that's what we're getting is, well, this is just for him. This isn't for me. Right.
No, I understand. Well, what we want is parents to take the first couple classes with them so they get a sense of what it's all about, and so that he or she feels more comfortable in the first couple classes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When we get to that point, how are we overcoming that objection, basically, right? Let's see here. We should look at more into LinkedIn and work towards marketing and connecting with other local businesses, which also has to do with the host parasite, or also known as the host benefit, right? We focus on parenting like parenting groups that already have a bunch of leads from us, for us, that we can obviously work with. So hairstylists, pizzerias, getting our flyers on the pizza boxes, meetup groups, and so forth. So this is now, we haven't done anything with LinkedIn, and you were saying that LinkedIn would be a great way to connect with other businesses.
To connect with the big businesses in your area, to build a relationship with big employers. The guy who owns the dry cleaners down the street probably isn't going to be on there. And, there's a whole lot of other examples, right? But the corporate people will be. So the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Googles, all of the tech people in and around your area, that'll be
Yes,
a
sir.
resource to connect with.
Yes, sir. And then Brandy suggested this. She was talking about throwing a big party and then invite all of your leads, invite all your students, and have that be a day. So that's an extra marketing event. And that was really cool. The renewal process starts before they step foot in the door. So this is something for us. Even before they come here, what videos, what emails, what blogs are we sending that has black belt verbiage? Not just waiting for them. Oh, within the first 2 to 4 months, we're trying to renew them. No, we're renewing them before they've even come in the door. So start thinking about what the verbiage is for that. Master Moody has layers for his staff training. This was really good for students that have their CTI certified instructor training, then have his startup and then his remedial. So the staff training stuff that we went over, that was phenomenal. That was really good for us. He had the grading sheet for the instructors, and you went through and you gave notes on how they were doing and all that. That was fantastic. We need to create our own instructor grading sheet. So take his and figure out how to what pieces to use, and then start training our staff to start doing that. We need to figure out cookies or something to send absentee students for week 2. That was what Brandy would suggest with the cookies. I like that. Master Moody has us participate grading in the instructors. That was more on that. Let's see here. I'm going to create a CIT. We need to have people in the group who are kicking ass at a specific marketing event. So this was something that one of the days when we went over the marketing, all the marketing stuff that we could all do, like we're doing really well at the birthday parties. Scott and Brandy and then Master Harrison, they're doing phenomenal at booth events. They're doing really well with that. Master Krista Wells, she's done a great referral program. She's done really well with that. Master Heidi Gilbert has like that board breakathon day that was really, really good. So the idea is which people in this group have one of those marketing pieces that is just doing really well. And if we can make a video on that and have kind of the script of what we're doing and then share that with everybody, that would be awesome. So if we're doing really well at this and then we can just master those, 20 other principles, that would be phenomenal. So that's something that I wanted to do. And then the other thing that we came up with, Master Oliver, was the farmer's market. If we could have at the front of the farmer's market, have those bags, the cloth bags, because people that go to the farmer's markets use those same cloth bags.
Yeah.
So we can buy them pretty cheaply, put our logo on them, put 2 free weeks or whatever, and then just give them out, right? And there's some farmers markets that they won't let you in unless you sell food. Well, this might be a way for us to get in. Can we put up their signs for them? Can we help them do setup? Can we give them these bags, right? What can we do to get into those farmers market that they might not let us in there? How can we get into that and all that stuff? And then also Master Tim Harrison, he had the really nice jackets for the junior instructors, the assistant instructor jackets, certified instructors. That was really good too. So anyway, I'll stop there, but that was just a number of the key takeaways.
Excellent.
So what's your goal in the next 90 days?
90 days, we want to get up to close to 400 students. Well, I should say that differently. We are going to get to 400 students. That's the goal.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Appreciate you taking such good notes to post it for everybody. I would recommend everybody download those, even though you may have notes and you may not read it in like a book, but you can, if you think about, hey, we were trying to do, this or that, you can, you might be able to find it in Jason's notes. So I think it would be helpful. Thanks. All right.
Yeah, mass media, that's a good time to ask everybody if you have any video, photos, of dinner out or of the meeting, and if you whatever notes you have, whether they're handwritten and you take a picture with your iPhone or whether they're typed up nicely, like you said, like Jason does every time. Post all that stuff in the discussion forum. That's always helpful for everybody to see what takeaways people get. And again, you can have 10 people hear the same thing and have 10 different takeaways. So it's always very helpful, not only to be discussing it in group like that, but to see everything that you accumulated. I know that a few people recorded like the enrollment conference or the renewal conference or something like that. Even if that's in the longer recordings, excerpting that out and submitting that into the group will help everybody else as well.
Good point, sir.
Back to you, Master Moody.
Okay. Well, so great, guys. Who's next? Who wants to Spiller Guts next. Travis, we got you here. Jeff, who's
Do we hear from Bill or from Russ?
oh, we got to hear from Bill and Russ too. There you go. Travis unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey, this is John, actually. My brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're on a
It's
distance
okay.
from me. You're on a distance from me here, so I didn't see.
Yeah,
it.
no worries. Yeah, he went to get his son. He'll be back soon. But yeah, these are always amazing as usual. We kind of came up with a lot of, I guess, small ideas for the marketing plan for the next 6 weeks to hopefully ideally get 100 people from. We have a few birthdays parties set. I've had, I don't want to say bad luck. I've just been doing them wrong as opposed to asking for the appointments at the end or during, trying to get those more at the beginning. So that was really great to hear. Setting up some events for the Minecraft movie, getting back on our Bandit signs, more parents night out, parent and me class. We got some bus banners set up with a local really big school district. So hopefully that will help out some daycare centers, door hangers, adopt a school events, birthday. This is a really good one. The birthday cards to all current students, but also sending them out to all prospects of ones that we have their birthdays and former students. I thought that was awesome. I've never even really crossed my mind to do that to former students and prospects. So that was pretty cool. And then some of the stuff that we did as far as the 3 times rule, I think generally I'm really good at avoiding the price over the phone, but something that I definitely do is say and a lot when they ask, even though I can still avoid it. And I think that does something psychologically to the prospect of like, oh, they're kind of thinking about it, and I can tell that they don't really want to give it for some reason, so just ignore. And then addressing it the way that we did during the role playing, that was super helpful.
Yeah. Do you have a phone script by your phone?
Say again?
Do you have a phone script by your phone?
I did for a long time. I don't use it anymore, and it is different than the ones that we role played with, but there's no good reason to not have it in front of me always.
Yeah, and we have them on pads so that the phone script becomes something I can write on and by every phone. And to me, that's one of the biggest things people get in anybody at the school get in huge trouble if there's not a phone script somewhere right available there and a pencil. So now they can take notes, and what it does, that also does is help slow you down a little bit. But I would recommend that by, you had to role play and get it down, but also we really don't expect you to memorize all the different words.
Right.
Role play so you're comfortable with the words, and then you use the phone script to help you through it.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. We'll definitely do that. Something that I believe it was you said this, Master Moody, which was a really awesome way of thinking about things when it comes to the entire staff, because people are always going to tend to feel like you're telling them what to do. Even if they don't mention it all, it still kind of feels or sounds like that way, versus what you were saying. Hey, these are the systems. Everyone has to follow the systems. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not being bossy. These are the systems. So that was really, really good to hear. And then, of course, all the sales stuff that we did at the end. I talked to you a little bit out in the hall, and you gave me some really, really small things, but equally important, or also very, very important. And then just the presentations of the leadership and the way that you kind of conveyed the savings versus what we've been doing is these are the savings today versus the savings over the course of the duration of leadership, which is a much, much bigger number. And that just looks better overall. So those are kind of my key takeaways from it overall.
What's your guys' goal for the next 6 weeks or 6 months?
I mean, we're shooting for 100 in the next 6 weeks for the marketing plan that we have, which overall is 20 different items. I think I mentioned about 8 or 10 of them.
Okay.
Quite a few more. So smaller numbers of enrollments, but many more items of ideas for marketing.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Have you there? in another example where, you know, you guys both got to come together. So if at least you have one more staff member there, one more person, I mean, you guys run the school together too, but one more person, it helps you, you know, build on the material. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 10 when you have more people there, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
Russ or Bill, what's this I think was not your first one, Russ, or first one, but what do you guys got? Bill, you saw you unmuted.
Yeah. So yeah, I really found the whole mojo, the energy, you know, of sharing. Everybody was engaged, and that was the amazing thing. And that's, you know, you pick up the ideas, whatever someone is good at. You know, they revealed what they're good at, and I said, "Wow, this is an amazing thing. We don't do that, you know." So usually we do about 5 things. So I have now on the plan about 15 things.
Okay.
To work with. I'm trying to absorb and be able to realistically apply them. And I think this whole marketing as itself should be an obsession, because, you know, I wake up with it and I go to sleep with it. I mean, it's a positive obsession. I'm not saying anything negative about it, but it should be obviously a very intensive part of the movement, because first of all, it's a full engagement. You have so many different moving parts, and you have to be like we went, me and Robert went to a local school, just walked in, Master Oliver's idea, and we got parent coordinator. We started to speak what we offer. We got we starting with physical education class, then we're gonna get the approval slips, then we go into the actual enrichment. So we got some contacts in schools already when we came back. So it became like, listen, we're not waiting, we're just going at it no matter what. And it's just non-quitting spirit and obsessive mindset about it. That's what I've gotten out of it.
Good. Well, you guys already
yeah.
went through a school like yesterday to
Yeah,
talk? Okay, great.
We already have 2 schools we're working with. You know, we want to basically get, you know, all the local schools in the area, and it's working. I mean, as I can see, you know, we talk about 4 laws of concentration, 7 words of respect. They like that idea, you know, because it's in the same conjunction with the education principles and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the other thing, renewals. I like to hear a little bit more about the PIFRS paid in fulls, how we present it, how we talk about it. I was impressed by your numbers. I said, wow, this is like a number I have to think about. The 997 minus 200, 12,000 of savings, 797. So that was something that I was very much in my projection, how I can, you know, grow into it. And yeah, I mean, it was a great weekend. And it was a great thing to, you know, to learn from the best people in the business.
Great. What's your goal in the next 6 weeks, 6 months?
So I like to think realistically and aggressively. Want to kind of like double up for what I had about maybe 10 signups a month for the last 3 months, but it's a winter time. It's a little, you know, it's a little bit tougher to go out and on the street as well. We also do, by the way, something I mentioned, we do outdoor sales. What we do is we hit the streets and we go to train stations nearby. You know, there's a lot of traffic in the area. It's very congested demographics. And we come up to people and we basically start a little, you know, selling or talking about the classes. Is your child doing anything productive? And we get into the special, we take their phone number and the name, we call them back to set up appointments. And we, Jerome Mackey, I don't know if you heard of the name, is a gentleman that used to own judo schools. Master Oliver, you heard about this guy?
Yes, absolutely.
So his main marketing system was outdoor sales. And
Well,
he means he didn't do anything else except that.
Well, we could
Well,
tweak
and-
it a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
I think Master Oliver's going to say the same thing
Go ahead.
as
Go ahead.
me. He's going to say the same thing as me, which is when you meet those, I think that's great to do. When you meet them, you set the appointment. You know,
Yes.
So
We
that-
try
that
to
would-
set. Yeah, we try to set the appointment right there. Which days would be more convenient for you? Would it be Monday or Wednesday at 6 p.m.? So
Okay.
I personally set the appointments usually when, you know, I send out the staff. They kind of like get the numbers and we call back, and it works very well. It works very well, but you got to be excited about it. You got to have a very consistent flow. And I mean, there's you can generate as many as 50 leads per month.
Yeah.
I mean, which will give
But
you
you
what's
could
that?
generate as many as 50 per day if you wanted to. Yeah.
Right. So it worked very well, but you cannot come out in this weather, it's a little bit, but this is something I'm going to start implementing, no question about it, to aggressively, hit all the components since it's available. Is a lot of, also we set a movie theater station, and we're going to be promoting the Karate Kid like 2 weeks before, and then during the week of the actual movie, we're going to be there as well. And I thought about the demonstration. I'm just gonna take a couple of kids in it because I already promised and kind of in the agreement that we're gonna take a couple of like 2 kids for a short demonstration during the time that we're gonna be there, instead of having the whole group. Since we spoke Master Oliver last time, I kind of like said, okay, let's think about that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much we're very excited about it. We're very, motivated. And, I spoke to Mr. Robert that, it has to be an obsession. It has to be it has to be very, very important to make it work like that, to have such an aggressive influx of the students. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, thank you. Let's see who's next. Russ, we got you, Jeff. Who's going to speak up first? I think Russ is.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear Jeff. Jeff, you're up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's always a good thing to do. I mean, it was just ridiculous because there was just so much information. My goal for the next 90 days is 100 students. We went over training, marketing, sales, and retention. Under training, you completely blew my mind with the 8-week cycle with the belts. So now I'm doing it now with the belts and the training the staff to train the assistants. Now that was a completely new concept that I never heard before. And that's going to help me. So now I've got younger kids that know how to answer the phone, and now they're going to be ready to be hired when they become 14. One of the big,
let's highlight in terms of what you mean the 8-week cycle with the belts. What he's talking about is we have a set order of things that we do: phone script, and then lobby talk, and then intros, and so on. We do those things that we talked about, and you can look it up in the circle group. But we start week 1 the same as our testing week 1. So now in the whole school, there's only one week 1. It's not like the first week of the month we do one thing, and then the first week after testing we do another thing. So everything starts at testing. So go ahead. Sorry, I want to make sure everybody understood kind of what you're talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'd been exposed to this before with Master Oliver, and he went over the 13-week training cycle, and it made sense to me, but I couldn't put it down on paper. When you actually wrote it out and we actually went through it and actually talked through it, it made a whole lot of sense. And at that point, it was just like, it blew my mind. The second thing was actually doing it with a partner and the way you actually did it, because I'd never done that before, truly. And you're absolutely correct. It's like, well, if you don't practice it, you're not going to get better at it. And in fact, we can always get better at it as well. And if I train them, they'll see that they can get better at it as well. And I would always get to a point where I'd be with my staff. I'd say, well, didn't you read it? It's right there. Can't you do it? And I would get upset with them without training them. And so really is my fault. And it all comes down to me. And I understand that completely. As far as it was just really good to do the drill and actually do it with throwing stuff at each other and understanding that you do it first without any objections, all objections, and then mixed. And that was just brilliant. The next thing was marketing. I know I need to increase everything to 20, but I didn't realize that you could do 2 to 3 birthday parties a weekend. Now, the problem with that is I'm doing them. So I got to train somebody to do it, but I'm just going to commit to doing them. That way they get done. The other thing is as I was there, we were talking about ChatGPT a little bit, and I've used it before. And I finally just stopped and wrote out email sequences for different events that are specific to the event. And I did that like in 10, 15 minutes. And I completely forgot about doing that. And I was like, okay, let me just do it. And I've done that. I'm following up now with my after school enrichment program. I've got one coming up coming this Friday. And then I love the preschool enrichment program that Belfield had talked about. So I'm going to approach those guys as well. I started this. I don't know if you can see it. Can you guys see that? No.
It's your background's making it fuzzy.
Oh well, it's a children's hospital, King's Daughters.
Okay.
I actually got that approved over at one of my partners' education. They're sending it out to everybody in the school, and I just have to do that with the rest of the partners' education as well. And I just went out to the pizza place next door and find out about their pizza boxes and stuff like that. And it's a matter of getting the amount of stuff out there in order to get what I want, which is the 190 days. The sales process, I have not been doing the way you guys have been saying it. Having those sheets before the pre-sheet, so they have all the questions themselves, and then doing it afterwards. I have not done that. So I'm just like, okay, let me just go and do the things that I need to do in order to get that right. And then the closing tool, the price sheet that you have, I know now that I'm just going to take out give them the discount of 500, and then I'll leave the price at 347. I won't discount that anymore. So I'm moving it up to 347.
Right. And some of you guys are doing that. That's fine if you're uncomfortable with the price, but if you're comfortable with it, then it's simpler the other way.
Yep. And what else? So the closing tools were great. And then the retention, it was great to hear from everybody and how they were doing it to make sure that their onboarding was correct. I love the birthday cards to the former and prospects. And then I'm going to do now a welcome party every month for everybody. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Awesome. Sounds great. I think you got a pretty complete list there. I hope everybody took some notes on it. Good. What's your goal in the next 6 months to 90 days? Or
it's to get that 100.
What's that? Another 100 in 66?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Russ Northup, I think I caught you.
Yes, sir. It was a great event. Having some staff there helped tremendously. I have told my staff over and over again about all these things I want to implement, and they're all like, why? And then we come there and they're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Because they see so many other people that are doing it. When I tell them that it's like, that won't work. Why are we going to do that? And then they come there and see everybody else doing it, and they're like, okay, I get it. I learned some tweaks on the enrollment conference that I think might help me improve my closing percentages. The 6 weeks for 100 students, I got a lot of marketing ideas out of that. Most of them I've done in the past. I just never done all of them together. I think somebody else said that too earlier. But it's reminding me of things I can do. And so I'm looking forward to implementing quite a few new things.
Awesome. That's great. Okay. What's your goal in the next 6? And the key
100 students in 90 days
100 students
and double my gross.
Okay. Both.
Yeah.
You have the room to do that.
Yeah.
And so, and really we made plans for 100 students in 6 weeks. So, that's a little longer now. That's okay. And double gross. And how many staff members did you bring?
I had 2 staff members and one of them's parent there.
Okay.
And the parent actually helps me out with a lot of Facebook stuff. So she got quite a few things out of it as well, and is wanting to help out more in school.
Cool. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thank you. Who have we missing? We've been going through a bunch of people. We get everybody? Master Oliver, I think we might have gotten everybody. William Wong is maybe there, not on video.
William, are you there? Earth to William.
Earth is here.
Okay.
What are your
Awesome.
takeaways, William?
Well, everyone pretty much said them all.
Mhm.
However, what I will say is that it's true that every single live training that you go to is different. It's a different experience, and it actually gets better each time because I have a better understanding from the last time and the time before that. So it's a momentum build. that you get in your brain. And I heard someone say that their brain hurt after a day or day and a half. And I mean, that's how I was as well. And this time there was things that I've heard before that I feel like it's more actionable now at this point than it was before. Some of the talking points that I have here, because I did 2 different lists. I did a note and then I did a task list, 2 separate ones. And I went through that at the airport on Sunday night before we got on our flight. And one of them is really, number one is getting into the preschools and then getting into the regular schools are both as important. So I'm going to be doing those 2 at the same time. Marketing, I'm going to put a list. I haven't put it all together yet. We have obviously 6 different groups that put together wonderful marketing lists for 100 students or even more than 100 students in 6 weeks. So making sure that, like Russ said, that we're doing everything concurrently. Like Master Oliver says, doing those 20 things all at once. I tend to want to pick 5 here for this month, another 5 for next month, and so forth. So building that internal, external, and digital marketing is very important. Adding some video to our website and YouTube channels, Instagram Reels, Facebook Stories, all that's going to be very important to build the organic growth as well. Can you grab him? Dude, my grandpa. Look at this guy. He's just, and that's why I was on mute. And
now we know.
Yes. The other thing is I don't have enough testimonials. So going into the classes and grabbing those testimonials from the parents and from the students during class, after a belt testing, after a black belt testing, some of the things that I got here. What has training at our school done for your child? Another one is, what has receiving a black belt at our academy, what has that done for your child? And just letting them talk. And that's so important as well. The ambassador program, I don't do enough about that. And I do have a belt testing coming up next week. So I already spoke to my staff yesterday when we got together for our staff training that we need to do this and give out those stripes like Grandmaster Smith says. You bring a friend, you get a stripe. Your friend signs up for a trial, that's 5 stripes. They get enrolled, that's 10 stripes. So just finding ways for our students to be more engaged and seeing the value in the program is having them earn those stripes. And I can see, I went through it this morning and I saw about half of my students are getting stripes and half of them are not. And I'm like, okay, that's a problem. They're not seeing the value in the character development program or in the program period. They need to see more value. They need to be earning stripes. So that's very important. The biggest thing for me was CIT, certified instructor training. And I mean, Master Harrison's team came in there with their varsity jackets. And I was like, oh my gosh, they came in like, they rolled in like, man, don't mess with that team.
Yeah.
And it's true. They looked really good. They look like a team. And they have the knowledge of varsity too. So it's super cool. And so putting those things in place and making it a big deal and giving them extra perks for those instructor training program, whether it's, I ordered a bunch of beanies with our logo on it. I'm just going to give them out to all my CIT just because, giving them gifts and letting them know that they're appreciated. Renewals was a big step. I understand the renewal process, but I understand it so much differently this time. It's about the little details. And for me, at first, it was just trying to grasp overall what the renewal process looks like. And I was making it very, very difficult. I'm like, oh man, everyone's doing this and this. How do I get all these little steps? But the key is doing something, taking them along through the next step, and then making sure that you enroll them when they're ready. You know, some of the things that I wasn't doing is making it a big deal about, oh, you know what? Little Johnny just filled out their black belt vision sheet. Check this out. He's going to earn a stripe right now, and just making it a big deal. Making it a big deal when they get nominated, when a student gets nominated for black belt training, and making sure that that they get the invitation and they get the basket or they get the popcorn bucket or whatever it is, and then making it a big deal. Mr. Clay had a fantastic role play that he did for us on Sunday. I was like, wow. I'm like, we're not doing this stuff. No wonder I have about 50 students that are not renewed. It's because we're not doing these little steps that actually make a big difference for the student and for the parents, right? So, and then also when they do go into the program, handing the uniform out to them in public, in front of the class, to everyone, so everyone can see these types of things as well. And in that renewal process, it's not just that, it's also what's the extra 15, 20 minutes that are going on with the black belt training students and the leadership students while the basic program is going on is a big deal as well. So those are the little things that I just wasn't picking up on. I was just trying to grasp the bigger things. And renewals is not just about basic students to a black belt training program. It's also your black belt club to the black belt leadership, or Tiny Tigers to the basic, or second degrees to third degree, and always looking to either renew or extend their program is something else that Master Moody was talking about that I found very, very helpful. So these steps, and then training our staff on the steps and role playing some of the steps, like someone was saying over here, is very important as well. And, you know, for the longest time, I was trying to figure out, and I even asked Master Oliver, how do I differentiate all this stuff? Because there's 3 different things that we have. We have staff training that I wasn't doing very well, which leads to my CIT program, which leads to leadership. And all of them actually should be working together. And I felt like I was trying to do 3 separate programs, but in reality, they all work together. So I'm still working on making sure that, hey, when we're working on psychology of winning and my staff's going through it a certain way, how is it going to get delivered to the CIT students? How's that going to get delivered to leadership? And how's that going to get transferred to black belt training? So those are some of the things. I have more, but I've already been talking a lot. So
what's your goal in the next, 6 weeks or 6 months?
I'm going to do 99 students in, no, I'm just playing. I mean, I really like that. It's motivating me. I saw the numbers, and if we do get 100 students in the next 90 days or so, that's going to be about a $50,000 bump in my gross. So why not do it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's going to be one of them. And for me, my goal is to implement. I guess that's my number one. Implement the things that I learned from this live training, prioritize it like Scott talked, and say, okay, which one's going to give me the most bang for my buck? So having that prioritized task list is going to be so important, and then hitting those, which will double my gross. So there you go.
Cool. Perfect. I love it.
Fantastic. I think we've hit everybody, haven't we?
I think so,
anybody,
sir. With 1 minute to spare.
Yeah, amazing. Anybody who has anything to add, jump in. But a quick reminder, if you guys, Tim, you had brought this up, I want to nail down the $1 Million Group special retreat this week, if at all humanly possible. But if you can send me whatever dates in August and September are not available for you. In other words, things you already have a schedule conflict. This is a small enough group that we can work around those scheduling conflicts, I would think, pretty effectively. So if you could just send me what to mark off the calendar for August and September, we'll get that nailed down. The plan is to be in Seattle area for that, but send me those in the next couple of days, and we'll get a date in ink rather than in pencil here next few days.
Where would you like that sent to, sir?
You could either post it in the group, or you could text or email it over to me directly.
Okay.
Post it in the group. I'll be more likely to see it, to tell you the truth.
Okay. Post in group.
Yeah. And please, everybody, do that right away, because we want to get that nailed down. So maybe as soon as we get off the call, check your calendar and send it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure.
On that note, go ahead.
I was going to say August 22nd through the 24th, we're having a camping trip with our school. So that wouldn't be a good time. Other than that, I think most of the rest of the times are good.
You understand I'm not going to remember that.
Okay, got it. Post to the group.
Okay,
Got it.
right. Post in the group. Okay. Very good. So third weekend in August, you have a camping trip.
Yeah, just post it.
Okay. And other than that, our next regular meeting is in May. That date is in ink. We're all set to go with that. I can almost guarantee it'll be a hell of a lot warmer in Colorado in May than it was in Texas in February. So
Has the restaurant next to the Choice Hotel reopened yet?
it is belly up. They're trying to turn it into a quick trip.
Oh, bummer.
So the community is in arms that they want to turn it into a quick trip, which I wouldn't be fond of it being a quick trip either, even though I like quick trip. But they have had, I think, 4 owners in post-COVID that have all run it out of business. So there is that too. So
And is my assumption correct that that's where we'll be meeting?
yeah, we'll be at that hotel, and then I'm going to either find some dates that Table Mountain or Golden Inn can accommodate us, or just find some other place in town that might be better. That downtown Golden area has become so popular, and the School of Mines has become so busy that it's become increasingly difficult to get a date in either one of those small hotels.
The Choice Hotel I thought was great when the restaurant was open, but
Yeah.
since then kind of, oh well.
Yeah, El Rancho was a favorite haunt.
Yes.
Unfortunately, very poorly managed for many number of years. It has quite a storied history too. Teddy Roosevelt signed a decree to create that entrance because he was a fan of Table Mountain of El Rancho, among other things. And it was originally the post office for the area, as well as a restaurant and bed and breakfast. So has kind of a storied past. Maybe there will be some rescue. And for the record, I have no interest whatsoever in ever running a restaurant. So I'm not getting into that mix in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
If it becomes a quick trip, it becomes a quick trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you later.
Right.
Bye.